Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Reps podcast. I'm so thankful to have you here. We are still looking to create a bigger community around the mental health when you're done finishing your sport. As we've been saying, we just want to create a community where you feel safe to talk about the mental health when you're done playing sports and how you could repurpose yourself without having sports be your entire life. Before we get started, I just want to say to make sure you give us a review, like, subscribe. We go on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, everything. So just give us a listen, give us a review. So on the podcast today, I'm very thankful to have an old friend of mine and a guest come on. His name is Carlo, I'm going to butcher this, Rotaccio. I met him when I was playing at the University of Akron playing soccer, and I thought he would be a really interesting person to come onto this podcast and talk about life after sports and repurposing yourself, because I know he's very big in the soccer community and everything like that. So first off, Carlo, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's an awesome thing. I'm more than happy to be here and share my story.
Thank you. Just to start off, because I didn't really introduce you yet or anything, can you tell me about your background, just maybe where you grow up, your soccer background, and any other sports you really played?
Yeah, so obviously you gave me a great introduction, but growing up, for me, it was just soccer. Me and my family, that's all we did our whole lives. We growing up, getting early, waking up early, watch games, practice, whatever it was. But my path, I was fortunate enough to play for one club team my whole entire life at New York City in Bladwell Scotchy, and I was also very lucky enough to grow up and play with the U.S. national team, the youth teams. I grew up playing with the U14s, the U15s, the U17s, and U19s. And I was also blessed to have the opportunity to play at the University of Akron and pursue my degree, and also get the chance to continue playing soccer and having the chance to hopefully play professionally, which I was also blessed yet again to do. I went on to be drafted by Chicago Fire. I played professionally for a year, and after 20 long years of playing, I decided, it's time to move on. It's very exhausting, but it was all fantastic. I have no regrets in anything I've done, and here I am now, ready to move forward.
Yeah, that's great. You have a really amazing soccer career and just career in history with this sport. I mean, you got to grow up playing in these national teams, and then you went and played at the University of Akron. And if you're listening and you don't know, Carlos basically played for one of the top teams in the country. He also, I believe, was the captain for the team, which is really amazing to be able to hold such a high standard for yourself while leading the team basically into the national championship. Is that what you would say?
Yeah, absolutely. Freshman year when we went to the final, there were definitely older guys who had that kind of status of being a captain, but for me, the way I always saw it was just to do my role and act as a leader in my own way, whether I had an armband or not. And it was just about setting an example, setting a standard. And, I think that as a collective, we really did meet those standards. And I think that's why we did so well. It was exciting. It was a great time. People, we're so dialed in, and, you could feel the energy, and you could tell that there was something special in the group.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, when you're playing at such a high level, you have this adrenaline and all this dopamine from being able to win all these games and go out there and play competitively and be with all your best friends and just really put everything out on the field.
Yeah, absolutely. It's weird because you're playing and, you're growing up when you're playing, your club level teams, you're all scattered everywhere. You don't live together. And, and you realize at least when I was at Akron, you did everything together. Some of the guys were your roommates, some of the guys were your classmates. You literally lived, breathed every single moment of your lives together. So it's a different sort of camaraderie that we had. So, but yeah, super special, fantastic time. I look back at it all the time, just think about how lucky I was and having the people supporting me around me and fans, family, friends. It was just all great. It was all really, really just amazing things.
Yeah, that's actually one of the hardest things, though, that people have, like the difficulty of coming, as you've been saying, you're with your team all the time, you have this camaraderie, you're living with them, you're going to class with them, and then you finish and it's like, oh my gosh, like I can't go to the locker room and go like have chit chat with my friends anymore. I can't like go meet up with them in class and talk about our game next week. Do you think it's weird, like not being able to just, like do you miss the feeling of being able to go to the locker room with all your friends and stuff?
Yeah, definitely. It's something I do miss a lot. I always try to keep in touch with all the guys, whatever guys I can. It's just, it does get a lot, especially as, your life goes a separate way. But yeah, I do miss that. I mean, sometimes some of the guys just, they just piss you off and, but as you look back at it, you're like, I miss those times when people piss you off, because then those things are gone and it's like, it's those little things, all the banter that people have, but now it's just, it's just how it is, so I always try to recant on those things. I try to keep in touch with the guys and, even on Chicago, I mean, college is a total different level of camaraderie. Don't be wrong. Chicago's great, but when you live and breathe every single moment with your friends and your friends really from college and your teammates, it's just different. But yeah, it's something I do look back all the time. I was really lucky. I had a lot of family of mine that played D1 sports, particularly my uncle. He was a D1 All-American at Villanova in lacrosse back in the day in the 80s. So I lean on him for a lot of advice in terms of team camaraderie, getting guys bought in, how to, cut any sort of, cancerous things within the group and how to handle it and, who to have on your side and, and how to lead. And so it was great. I had a lot of really, really good support. So I learned a lot and I applied a lot and I learned from my own experiences as well. So I was able to grow to where I am now and hopefully I can apply to whatever I do next.
Yeah, that's amazing that you even like recognize that upon yourself to take these characteristics and things you've learned from playing a Division I sports and being with all these teammates and take those characteristics and take it now maybe into your day-to-day life.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really interesting. So we'll see how things go. But yeah, I'm always trying to apply things from soccer. I always sound I probably sound super cheesy when I say it. I always tell people, I'm like, I'm sorry to refer anything to soccer, but it's like, literally it's everything I learned about life is through soccer and the guys I was with at college. I'm sure I am.
Yeah, which is amazing that. Yeah, for sure. I definitely take what I've learned from the sport and soccer, like, into my day-to-day life, which I know is probably annoying for other people. But that's, like, the point of this podcast, to show that our whole life has basically been sports. So, like, it's hard to almost relate to something different because that's what we do every day. We'd wake up and go do our sport. We'd wake up and go be with our team. We'd wake up and just be talking about soccer the whole time. It's hard to just disassociate from that, especially when it's something you've been doing, as you said, for 20-plus years.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's really weird.
Yeah. So it's amazing that you were able to go play professional for a year after. Was that something that you have always dreamed of since you were little, or was it something that you're like, oh, I have the opportunity, I'm going to do it? Or was it something like you set out to do from a young age?
No, that was something, as a kid, I was like, I have to do this. I want to do it, It was just something I used to watch, Premier League in the morning, Serie A, in the mornings. Those are the two big ones I always watched. And I was like, that's it. Like, I have to get somewhere at that level. I have to for sure. And that was my motivation every day to wake up. Waking up, I was always thinking about it. It's the first thing that comes to mind. It's the last thing in my mind when I go to sleep. It was something that it just motivates me every day, but it's also one of those things that it felt like it gave me a purpose, So I wasn't just getting up to get up and go to school and then come back home and do homework and, go to sleep and just do the same thing over and over again. My day was, all right, I'm ready to go, practice, then I'm going to work out, then go to school, then, or I'm going to go to school and then make sure right away I make time to work out and then go to practice and then come back home, do homework. So yeah, it really gave me a lot of purpose in my life, soccer. And because, because of me watching them as a kid, I was like, it's gotta happen. It's gotta happen.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was kind of similar. I was like, oh, I have to play professional. Like, this is something I've been dreaming of my whole time. And as you said, it's what gives you your purpose, like, which is like weird to think about because your whole purpose is basically based around a sport where you're going and running and kicking a ball around. But at the same time, it's like what you like live for. You like live to get onto the pitch and you live to put your shoes on and just like go and head a ball or something, which is so weird if you like break it down, but it really is like your whole purpose is playing your sport. And then when you're done, it can be really difficult to be like, what is my purpose now?
Yeah, it is really weird. I wake up in the morning now and it's like, don't have to go run, like 6-7 miles today. I don't have to, strap the boots on. It's weird. It is very, very in the morning to just strap your boots on and play. But it's to realize that life's in chapters. Every chapter has a different story to tell. And, for me now, this chapter, it's just not soccer. And for you, it's an injury. And, everybody's chapter is different. But I was saying, that soccer gives us purpose, as well. It gives us, we wake up, because the reason we wake up in the morning, where other kids, they don't have that. They just, regular students. It was just fine. It's nothing against that at all. But soccer was my purpose. So finding a new purpose is something that's, I still work on it every day. I think of new things. You have to do trial and error. But the biggest thing about it as well is the power of time. Everybody's time is a really unique thing because time works differently for everybody, and everybody's path success is different, through time. Some people, they go to college right away and they, get the right job and they start making a lot of money and they have a family right away. And it's great for them. Some people got to wait into their 30s to do it. Some kids do it like in the soccer world. They do it when they're 16, 17, 18 years old. So time's a really unique thing, but having faith in time and knowing that somebody's looking out for you, and that you're going to do great things, just knowing that you have to be patient and trust the process and trust yourself is the biggest thing. So that's what's given me the power to kind of wake up every morning knowing that time is on my side and time is looking out for me and somebody is out there wanting the best for me.
I think that's a really good way of looking at it and like approaching it, because I mean, I've interviewed a few people so far and I've talked to my friends about this stuff and no one has really ever talked to about it like that aspect. So I think even for me, that is really eye-opening to hear it like that, because even now I'm struggling with repurposing after soccer and just like, as you're saying, the time and just knowing something like good is going to happen and like the work you put in is what you're going to get out, I think is something that's like very important to hear and for other people to listen to and maybe take the advice you were just giving and look at it through that approach.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just, it's weird, it's really weird because even for people, like you and I that I play all the time, or I played and you're playing, it's just, purpose is just a different thing. It's people probably perceive it as something very generic, but as long as you realize that it's different for everybody and you don't compare yourself to other people and where other people are at, you just don't care what other people are doing. You just focus on yourself and what's best for you. That's great. That's the most important thing. I think that's the healthiest thing, because nowadays everything's about comparing and why, you see somebody doing this, why can't I do that? And so you can, as long as you apply yourself, 1 and 2, you just have faith that it can happen, and just know that it just takes time. That's it.
Yeah, that's also some really good advice. Like, I even me, you're like stumbling me. I'm like, wow, why haven't I thought about like this, or why haven't I like looked at it through this eyes? But this is why I want to bring people like you on, like to give a new perspective to people, and maybe someone could relate to you better than they could relate to me. And I just want to make sure that I'm able to, create a community where anyone can feel safe and like have different opinions about this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So to go on, I don't really know this, but why did you end soccer? Like, why did your career end? Sorry, if this is like too personal, you don't have to answer. I'm just a little curious.
No, not at all. I have no problem sharing that. I was, for me, I knew, as many of my teammates, or really not all my teammates, but my close teammates knew, my goal going to college at Akron was obviously first and foremost to do very well in school, because you're there because you need an education and there's life after soccer. Second was my soccer. I wanted to play professional soccer. When I was being recruited from Coach Jared and Coach Leo at the time, that was very clear. I want to play professional soccer. I was aware how the draft works and the Generation Adidas. And I want to be one of those guys to hopefully be selected to graduate early and hopefully sign a multi-year deal. For whatever reasons, that didn't quite work out. So I knew that going to senior year, I'm like, the odds of a senior, first off, landing a contract is very tough. And also landing a very safe deal, I guess you want to call it, where it's multi-year, is very tough as well. I'm also somebody that doesn't like, I don't like bouncing around. I like to settle roots down where I am. So for me, I wanted to always taste the professional world, but knowing that I could play 8 years and meet 8 different places, I don't like that. That's why I love being at Akron. I was there 3.5 years. So I got my roots settled in there a little bit. That's why it was sad leaving Akron because, I had roots over there. I get emotionally tied to places like that. That's just how I am.
I think a lot of people are like that, though. They get really tied into something, especially when it's part of your routine and you're doing it every day and you know, not that it's a safe space, but it's a comfortable zone and you know what to expect basically. And then when you're like thrown into this draft, you're like, oh my gosh, like you said, you could be in 8 different places in 8 different years. Yeah,
exactly. And I got to a point, honestly, the biggest thing when people ask me what the professional role was like, and I'm sure you can allude to this as well, it's everything you imagine it to be. It's everything but that. Because people think, oh, these guys go to practice, they have the whole day off, they get relaxed, like, you're going to get to new hobbies. It's like, no, not at all.
Yeah.
Because you're there, I'm in the offices at 8 a.m. for breakfast and prehab. I don't get out every day until 5 o'clock. And you are exhausted. So any hobbies you do want to get into, you just, you don't get into it because you prioritize your soccer and getting the right rest, getting the right recovery, getting the right food to eat, and all these kind of things. So yeah, it was a really exhausting lifestyle. I was so happy I got to try it. I got very, very blessed to be in an amazing city in Chicago. Love living there. Love Chicago. The city was great people. I made fantastic friends, but I just realized the lifestyle just, wasn't for me anymore. I look back at it and, I knew growing up, like we spoke about, we had we always want to play professional soccer, but growing up as a kid, you have a bucket list, I guess you want to call it, things you want to do in soccer. And I'm very fortunate enough to say that I can tick off I ticked it all off. All the boxes are checked. So now people will be like, oh, why don't you go to, play a couple more years? You could have done great things. It's like, I can go to sleep every night happy. My bucket list in soccer is checked off. I'm ready for that new chapter, whatever it may be. I'm just moving on. And obviously for you can say the same exact thing. So you've done some fantastic things as well. So
yeah, no, for sure.
And everybody's time is different. Same thing, like I said, time. It's just time is a powerful thing. For me, it was 1 year. For you, maybe another 5 years. And for other people that we know, it could be another 15 years. Like whatever it is.
Yeah.
But you just get different value from it. Different memories, life experiences, things like that.
Yeah, and it's awesome that you were able to get that experience and, like, as you said, check off your bucket list, which is, like, something so amazing. And it's almost like, what's the word? You're, like, doing it for yourself. I can't think of it. Like,
yeah,
I guess you're just reaching the goal you had set for yourself since you were a little kid. And you're like, wow, I am that person. Like, you're, like, reaching your potential, basically.
Yeah. And the biggest thing also, look back at it as well is, when I was contemplating about retirement, I was like, you know what? The biggest thing I wanted to make sure I did was have impact on people. My age, younger, whatever it may be. And I'm happy to say that I still speak to people nowadays where they ask for my help and guidance in some things because of, I guess, the way I held myself and the standards I try to set with any program I was part of. So, that's another big thing as well. It's just the impact you have. I still have teachers from my old school who, ask me how things are going, and it's awesome. I get to go back to my old high school, and I see my jersey in the Hall of Fame next to my brother's, and my mom's in the Hall of Fame as well. So, the impact I left at my old high school, and I think about it, I'm like, wow, this is really, really neat. So I guess that just another reason for me to go to bed, at peace of mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's amazing. Sounds like you come from a family of athletes, so my gosh. But it is amazing that you're able to, like, I was going to ask, like, how do you stay connected through the sport? But it sounds like you've made such a good name for yourself and you've, like, from personal experience, if you're listening, I know Carlo has held himself to such a high standard, and he's such an amazing person and like such an amazing athlete too. And like to hear that like little kids maybe reach out to you and even like parents, that's amazing, because like that is how you maybe still are able to stay connected to the sport.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I'm not sure how many people know, but I also have my younger brother that plays professionally still. He's going on to 5 years now professionally in Europe at Liverpool with the U23s. And, my biggest thing now, as an older brother, and I'm sure my older brother can allude to this as well, we just want to be his number one support base, Yeah. I mean, he's still my annoying little brother, but I love that kid to death, and I want him to have the best possible career, knowing that I'm done now. It's just, he's been through a roller coaster of a career in terms of injuries, being away from home, missing out on, things that every kid gets to do. Like, he never he barely finished high school. Never got to do any homecomings, proms like me.
Yeah.
Anything we did together for the most part. So
yeah.
For me now, it's also being his biggest support. I think it's really, really huge. I keep me connected to the game big time. And obviously one day, I keep in touch with other coaches because I would love to coach one day. I've had some great experiences that, I obviously only got to play 1 year, but I hope I can teach kids so that they are in the positions where they can do, twice, 3, 4 times the things that I did in my career.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's also, I do that too sometimes in the summer, and it's like so fulfilling to be able to show what you've learned to these little kids and maybe help them find their purpose into the sport.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I had some more questions. Give me 1 second. Okay, now I know. What do you do now? And did you know before you were done playing soccer, obviously you went and got your degree and you knew that behind the scenes, I guess, of soccer, you always were going to get a career, but were you prepared for that, or are you still struggling with that right now? Or what has the transition been from finishing your sport to now?
Definitely difficult. The job market obviously isn't the most friendly, but
yeah.
So I'm still doing job applications, but I was a little late to the podcast today because I was also doing, I was recently accepted to get my MBA at a local university around here.
Wow.
So I have options
Congrats.
there. So I'm keeping everything open, really. I would love to start working soon.
Yeah.
I'm currently working part-time at my cousin's pizzeria. It's awesome. I love it because I get to work with my cousin, my friends, my brother as well. So it's a great working environment, and it's great over there. But obviously it's a huge life change, I guess, but it's also really humbling, as well. I really like it because, I did in high school, but now when you realize you're out of college, I love working with the people I do, and the job that I have, because it makes you realize how much harder I have to work when I do get my job within my degree or within my job within an MBA, when I start working, when I start studying, I realize how much harder I have to work, because it's tough work. But I also love tough work because tough work has brought the best out of me, and it's taught me a lot of things. And even, who knows, maybe both those kind of things work out. Maybe I want to do the restaurant business one day. And, I'll absorb from all the experiences I've had and things I've learned from my cousin, my brother, my friends, that work there. And it's just okay. So it's a great experience. So it seems really, people are like, oh, it's a huge downgrade. But honestly, I'm like, this is great because I learned a lot from it. You learn life lessons, how hard you have to work. You learn maybe it's something you could tap into in the market one day, into the restaurant business.
Yeah.
It's obvious. It's a really great thing. So obviously it's tough hours, but I love it. So
I also, it's probably really good. I mean, even for any athletes, because a lot of times we don't really ever get to do different hobbies or get to experiment outside the sport, because every summer you're training, every winter break you're training, every spring break you're training. So you never really have the opportunities, I guess, to work just in a restaurant or something, because most of the time, if you're really, really dedicated, actually, I don't want to say that because this doesn't make you more dedicated or not dedicated, but when you're putting in all these hours and you're really focused on the fitness and focused on getting better foot skills or whatever sport you play, you don't always have the time to go and just work in a local pizza shop or just find other hobbies. So do you think being able to do this, it's amazing to hear that like you're really enjoying it, because I know a lot of times it can be very difficult to like finish a sport and be training all this time and then just like go work.
Yeah.
But like to hear that you're enjoying it's really nice and refreshing, because other people out there might be struggling listening, and like you're giving a new perspective to it.
I think the biggest thing as well is that I want to do more like not that it's not fun working the pizza creator, but I want to do more fun stuff. Like I eventually want to get, when the weather kind of works in our favor, like I would love to learn how to golf soon. I really like to do that. You know, I would love to, you know, I love working out now. Not that I didn't love working out, but I'd spend more time.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
I love
like,
that.
do you have you love working out? Because I know, have you like, because like girls' perspective is probably different than a male, which is also why I wanted to interview you. Like, have you had any like issues with working out and not going like so intense and like worried about what your body looks like? Do you have body issue images, Carlo? Because from a girl perspective, when you're done playing a sport, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to look how I did running around the field for 90 minutes. But like from a male perspective, what is it like?
I mean, that's interesting. I mean, to be honest with you, the one thing I just despised, you know, especially I realized in college, because I realized when we did punishments, I was like, I don't want to run. I hate running. So I run for health. You know, I think it's really healthy to stay fit. You know, I'm not running like 8 miles, but I'll run like, you know, a mile and a half, like twice a week, you know, just to stay a little healthy. And I'm not pushing myself. I'm just, you know, an easy jog, you know, it's just kind of get things, keep yourself healthy. But yeah, I mean, I can totally understand it from a guy's perspective too. People run into, you know, body image issues because people like, you know, people in general are, you know, are always looking at these images, these standards of people that where they're chiseled, or they're, you know, or girls where they're, you know, they're just so strong and they're so thin, and guys, same thing, or guys are super big and, you know, super strong. But at the end of the day, I'm just like, I go in there to work out, stay healthy, and get out. You know, I love spending time there.
That's a good way to look at it, though.
I think it's the biggest thing is it's kind of like the same thing with time, and time works differently for everybody. But same with like that process of just staying healthy. It's like people have different standards. Like I obviously would love to get stronger. So, but my timeline may be different than somebody who wants to lose 50 to 100 pounds. So, you know, it's just, it all works differently. So as long as you don't care what other people say around you about your current situation, you know, I think that's the most important thing. I just love going to the gym to stay healthy. Like I said, when the weather warms up, I would love to golf. And I love working, you know, I really do. So we'll see how things go. Hold on, I got to try this later. That's way better.
No, it's good.
But yeah.
No, that's amazing though, because I mean, from a personal aspect, sometimes like, don't you still beat yourself up in the gym, or no? That might just be like a me thing because I'm crazy. No, but like, you're like, I need to push myself harder because like, I mean, for professional and D1, you need to do that. So do you think you've struggled at all to like find the balance now?
No.
Or no, it's like easy peasy for you?
Well, easy peasy, maybe not. But, you know, I think the biggest thing is you can almost take your foot off the gas a little bit. But the one thing that's always been drilled in my mind, which I'll probably never, ever, ever be able to get out, is that when I do something, I do it with purpose to get something out of it. So when I go to the gym, I go to get a good workout. Whether it's, you know, an upper body day, a lower body day, cardio day, whatever it may be. I always like to get something out of it, you know. Otherwise, I'm wasting my time. So I'm not going, like my goal, like I said, to run is like a mile and a half, twice a week, you know, stay healthy. But if I don't feel like I did the best I could, you know, of course, I'm not trying to run like 5-minute miles like I used to, or 5 15-minute miles. But as long as I know that I'm getting a good workout out of it, and I'm like, okay, I go with a clear mind, and I'm like, all right, I got this done. I did a good job. Let's move on. You know, I also took a couple weeks off from working out. You know,
which is like necessary. I mean, we've been beating our bodies up for 20 years. So like, come on.
Exactly. So I realized once I retired, I was like, you know what? Let me take 2 weeks to not do it. Dang.
Even 2 weeks, like, come on, you deserve more than that.
Because otherwise that's me going crazy. I go batty if I can't. Like, if I can't, I'm not doing something. So, but obviously I lost a decent amount of fitness from that break, and I never wanted to get back to where I was because I didn't want to put that strain on my body. I just knew I had other things I wanted to focus on. I wanted to focus on work, job applications. I wanted to focus on, you know, just going to the gym. I wanted to focus also on, honestly, just being more like I'm going to more events, because I missed out
Yeah.
on so many events growing up.
Mhm.
That's something I really want to do. Even now, I'm working a lot. Don't get me wrong, I love working, like I said, but when I miss out on events, I'm like, oh, like I
Yeah.
want to do some of these things, Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, you just have to really just enjoy it, it's
Yeah.
just take it as it comes.
I love how you have such like a positive outlook on like being done with your sport, because a lot of times people can struggle, and it's really nice to hear like your refreshing side to it, and like, wow, look at all these amazing events I get to go to, and wow, I get to like be like have the time to myself, when before we were always rushing to get place to place, you never really got time to take care of yourself. Like, and then like mentally, I just am curious if like have you struggled like mentally, like like any like anxiety from not having the sport, or like anxiety from like not having a set schedule or anything like that?
I would say anxiety from a set schedule, yeah, because I was always super regimented in the sense that I always had training. I knew I had training. I knew I had class. I knew I had to do this. I knew I had to do that. Well, now it's kind of, I guess work schedule is a little bit more regimented, but my free
Yeah.
days are way more open. So that's something, that does drive me a little crazy, because that's why I want to get things rolling. Hopefully have a job. That'd be great. But if not, then my MBA, get that rolling. I'm hoping to start that in May if that's the route I pursue. So I have that regimented schedule. Anybody that knows me can tell
Yeah.
me that, that if I don't have a schedule, I do go crazy for a certain amount of time. That's why I always try to keep myself occupied.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is great,
Yeah.
having this time, because I also miss out on a lot of time with family. So I'm back home in New York,
Yeah.
and being with family, especially, I'm very blessed to say I have all four of my grandparents, but spending, all the time
Yeah.
with them, because I missed out on countless years, being away, I think is really, really nice. Don't get me wrong, FaceTime's great, but it's just not the same as human interaction. That's how I am.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
I mean, I love talking. I love talking to people if they get to know them. So being around them is great. But
Yeah.
so there's different ways to kind of cope with that, and I totally understand people have runs and anxiety and things like that, but I think if people realize that things will turn for the better, and just have trust in time, and that you're going to do the right thing, like, it's going to be great, because you already have your life's changing, but at least you have a support system. You're going to have family, you're going to have friends, and you're with those friends for a reason, because they're good people and they keep you happy, and you guys motivate each other to do well. That's why I'm very lucky. I have good friends and good family that we all motivate each other, and we all want the best for each other. So nobody brings anybody down. So having them around me is great as well. So, it is very understandable people, do become very negative, or, have a negative outlook on life, or an anxious outlook on life. But I think, just like I said, you just got to let it ride out and go. This time's a beautiful thing. Just go. You're going to enjoy it. Things will work out.
Carlo, you're like really, I feel like you're speaking to me specifically. No, I'm joking. But definitely need to look into the time, and like, as you said, like appreciate the little things, like being able to hang out with your family now, when all these years you've always been like, oh, my mom's taking me to this tournament, my dad's taking my brother to this tournament, and now you actually get to enjoy being with your family and going to these little events and finding new hobbies. So like, even though repurposing yourself when you're done with the sport can look different for so many people, it's a really great opportunity to just like kind of enjoy the little things in life, I would say, and like be with your family, even just like sit with yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I always think about it as well, as things could always be worse. It could always be worse. As athletes, I think we're very lucky, because people look at you, if you're an employer or whatever it may be, people look at you with in a different lens. But it could always be worse, and if you realize you always find one positive out of life, or out of every day, to take out of it, then you build off of that one positive thing. Whether it was like I learned something new, or you got a good workout in, you met a new friend, whatever, you found a new opportunity, you got into a new book to read, and you learned something from it, something you want to apply to in your life. Always just taking one positive and just compounding that and making it to two positive things, then making it to three positive things. And sometimes you may. It's like things go up and down, it's volatile, whatever. But it's okay. Just find something positive to take out of each day, because there is. But it takes attention and care, and that's it.
Yeah, that's great. I was literally just about to ask you, like, what is the top tip you would give everyone listening? And I guess it's to just take the one little positive thing out of every day.
Yeah, That's exactly it. Because otherwise, if you're just so pessimistic about everything, and it's just like, I think it's very easy for me to be like, oh, I don't have a job.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not sure what I'm going to do next in life. I don't have any hobbies. I don't have anything to do. I have no friends. Like, it's going to be okay. Like just because, your soccer life or your basketball, whatever sport is consumed your life. There's just better things outside it as well. It's just maybe you just never spend enough time looking into it, and it just takes a little bit of effort. But just taking one positive thing a day is going to make things great, And I try to always be super positive and energetic as possible. Otherwise, I'm wasting my time.
I'm loving this energy you're bringing onto the podcast, because not that I am a very optimistic person, but like sometimes I can be really pessimistic, and it just like keeps like diving you deeper into a pessimistic hole. But like hearing this like from you, and like how to always look into the one positive thing, and like how to just enjoy the little things even though there could be so many negative things, is like really great to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been in your position too. I was going to say, I've been in your position as well with the injury. Like, it's so easy.
Yeah.
Because I had the 2 shoulder surgeries, It's a devastating blow. Especially like an egotistical one, because to a certain extent, athletes are all have an ego. It could be healthy, it could be unhealthy. There's different levels. But yeah, we all do. And it's a big blow when you're hurt, but you take one positive thing, it's like, I got this exercise done. Like, that's huge. Then that's like, let's try to do multiple of those, then move on to the next one. Just being positive.
Yeah. No, that is amazing. But I'm sorry, I'm just seeing if I have any more questions or anything. Do you have anything else you'd like to add to this?
If not, advice, okay. I guess, in life after sport. I think.
Yes, please give me your top tip to repurposing yourself after sports.
So besides being positive, I would say, we're going to spot that. That's a really tough one. I would say don't rush into anything. So, okay, take some time to think about what you've done, what you like, and what you'd like to do. I guess in my 4 or 5 months of thinking about retirement, I took some time to think about what I wanted to do. And I realized one thing was, I guess through your own life experiences, I realized working in the soccer world, something I never wanted to do. I have a lot of respect for it. People in there I met, great people, but it's just a lifestyle that I do not want at all. So you just really observe what you've done in the past and what you would like to do in the future. Is really big. Just take some time to think about it. I always go back to time, because it's very easy to rush, because I'm very it sounds hypocritical, but it's like I could rush things. I want to do things, get things rolling, like, let's go, or else it's crazy. But I think this, I guess, chapter of my life is really teaching me to let time do its thing. It's okay if it's not done by tomorrow. Figure things out. It'll figure itself out. People always say that at Akron all the time. We're like, well, we'll just figure it out. And I'm just like, I guess I never understood it, so I was like, no. It's like, let's figure this out now, and then let's get rolling. But I guess I really, really become super relevant nowadays. For me, it's just, you'll figure it out.
Definitely. I think that's amazing advice, because as an athlete, you're also, not that you're always being rushed with everything, but you don't really ever have time to think about anything other than your sport, and everything going on in your mind almost revolves around your teammates or your sport, or how you're doing personally, or what you're going to eat, or how much you're going to work out. So like having the time to slow down, think about it, and just really like deep dive into also all the positives that are coming out of it. I think that's really great advice to give to somebody.
Also, I would say just trial and error, explore. I mean, you don't know you're not going to like it until you try it. For sure. I think that's a huge thing as well.
Exactly.
Just try new things. I'm trying to golfing. I mean, I'm also super limited with my shoulder. Things I could do because I'm afraid I'm doing it myself. Like, my parents tell me go skiing. I'm like, no, I'm not home for myself. I want to do the most leisurely things in the world. I love golf. I love playing cards with my friends. And
this is like so interesting to me, because I was like, oh, he definitely is gonna like me. I love adrenaline. Oh my gosh, I need it. And you're like, I want to golf and play cards. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, I could sit now for hours just chilling out. Me and one of my good friends, what we do is just, we go to a coffee shop and we sit there for hours and just talk. And I'm like, this is awesome. I've never got to do this in my life. Normally it's like I have an hour and a half max to give you, and then I got to get to bed and get my 8-9 hours to work out the next day. Now I'm like, it's okay. Let's just go chill out. Let's have a cup of coffee. You know?
Yeah.
Things like that. It's awesome.
Oh. Well, that is amazing. I think it's amazing to hear that you're able to look into all these positive things when soccer has been such a big aspect of your life. And even though you might not be in your ideal position right now, you're looking into everything that is like so amazing in your life, and you're being so grateful for all these things such as your family and your health and being able to enjoy little things like sitting at a coffee shop, which sounds so crazy because most people are like, what, like sitting at a coffee shop and just chatting isn't like normal to you, but like realistically, no, because we've never really had enough time to be doing that. So like hearing your positive outlook and your refreshing outlook is so amazing. And I really hope that someone listening is able to like, personally, I'm taking your advice and I'm like, I really need to start looking into the one little thing that's going on every day that's bettering myself. So first off, just really thank you so much for like sharing your thoughts and your opinions and coming onto this podcast in the first place.
Of course. I thought, when you first reached out to me and told me about it, it's a unique thing because I know people that have run into this problem, even athletes that haven't gone to play professionally. I know people that went on, club or even college level and this get kind of, I guess, lost. I guess the way, people call it nowadays, they just get lost. But just gotta realize that things are gonna be better, It's fine. Just take things as they come, So I'm happy. I hope somebody hears this and, they do get something from it. And I guess, my line's always open as well. So I'm more than happy that if anybody ever wanted to speak, I'd be more than happy to help people out, So.
Well, thank you so much for that. And I'll tag you in everything. So if you're listening, thank you again for tuning into the Reps podcast and listening to my interview with Carlo. Thank you once again, Carlo, for coming on to the podcast. Don't forget to leave a review on the podcast, maybe give it some likes. Just let us know what you think because as I keep saying, I just want everyone to be able to find a relatable episode on here and just kind of hopefully repurpose themselves into something better or just help them think more positively or just have a better outlook onto life. So once again, thank you everyone for listening. Once again, thank you, Carlo. What is like your Instagram or anything you want people to come look at you at?
So I guess, the social media for me would be Instagram.
Well, I'll tag it too.
So I'm at Carlo Bertaccio. So pretty much all social media is at Carlo Bertaccio. I keep it really simple. So cool. Hit a follow. If you need any help, advice in life after sport, my line's open.
Yeah. So thanks everyone again for listening to the Reps podcast. Bye. All right.